Okay, so for the final lesson for review in category 2 is going to be talking about association versus causation. So association does not imply causation. Well, let's talk about what those two things mean. Remember, association is that two variables do not have a cause and effect relationship. So do not have a cause and effect relationship. Okay? They simply are related, which if you know associates, if you associate with somebody, you have a relationship, but it's nothing serious, okay? It's just I know you, you know me, we happen to know some of the same people, but that's it, okay? Nothing's causing or something to happen there. There's just a relationship. But in causation, it is a cause and effect relationship, and you can see the word cause right in the word causation. So if you see that word cause, then you need to think cause and effect. If you think association, you just think, oh, they're related, but no cause and effect. Okay, so for example, the number of cars traveling over the holiday weekend versus the number of accidents reported. Is a holiday weekend going to be the cause of every accident that's reported? No. Now it's related because more people are on the road traveling around holidays, which means there's an opportunity for more accidents to happen, but that doesn't mean that every time there's an accident it was because then there were cars traveling on a holiday weekend. You know, I could have a wreck on a Tuesday and it not be a holiday, okay? Whereas calories consumed versus amount of weight gain. If you consume calories, you are going to gain weight. That is a cause and effect relationship. One does affect the other. If I don't eat calories, I'm going to lose weight at some point, okay? So there's a direct cause and effect relationship there. All right, let's talk about correlation coefficient. So this is the R value in your calculator that measures strength and direction. So I really want to highlight that. So we've got strength and direction. So think of your scatter plot, the R value, it's telling you how close your scatter plot is being in a straight line and how strong it is. Okay, so if you look here, the closer it is to 0, that means your scatter plot is weak. And then you've got moderate, which is kind of like sort of strong. It's in between weak and strong. Strong would be your scatter plots are really close to being in a straight line. Okay, so we got close to being in a straight line. And then as we get closer to 0, that's where your scatter plot is getting closer to no relation whatsoever. And then you also have negative and positive, and that's going to tell the direction. So a negative correlation coefficient is telling you that your scatter plot tends to go in a negative direction. So if you look at these here, we've got that's a weak negative correlation because they're not really getting into a straight line, but they do kind of tend to go in a downward direction. Here you see a moderate negative correlation coefficient because they're starting to somewhat get in a straight line, and that straight line is slanting down like negative slope. And then here we have a strong R correlation coefficient because those that scatter plot is kind of now starting to really get close to being in a straight line. Here in the middle, 0, that's just a no correlation. They're not really positive, it's not negative, those are random points all over the place. And then we have our positive side. So again, here we've got a very weak R coefficient, and that's just because those points are not really close to being in a straight line. They're a little bit more organized than a 0, and they're positive because those points are trending kind of upward. And then we've got a moderate kind of middle correlation coefficient here, and again it's positive because those are tending to go in an upward direction. And then you can see a strong correlation coefficient, and that's because those are pretty close to being in a straight line, and again they're going in a positive direction, so think positive slope. All right, so let's talk about how to find some data in our calculator. So we've got the table shows the monthly average water level of a North Texas lake over a 12-month period. We're going to make a scatter plot. So we are going to hit stat enter. Stat enter. Actually, let's clear our calculator and do stat enter.